Good morning, everybody. All right, just make sure I have everything set up. Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Laura with the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland, and today we are going to be walking through the Cadette Breathe Journey. So this is going to be a 3-part series. So today is part 1 of 3. So the Breathe Journey is part of the It's Your Planet, Love It series. There are 3 awards associated with this journey, and they are called the Aware, Alert, and Affirm Awards. So we will be going through those 3 awards in our 3 different live sessions. So the Aware Award is we're going to increase our awareness of the importance of clean air and the issues that impact the Earth's air. The Alert Award is choosing your Take Action project, the issue that you care about, and educating and inspiring others on that issue. And then Affirm, we are going to gather proof of progress towards our efforts to educate and inspire others, and reaffirm our commitment to strive to educate others on the issues of the planet's air and other elements. So today, again, we're doing the Aware, and so we're going to be talking about some things that maybe you don't necessarily think about when you think about air, things that we don't tend to see because we can't see air. And then we will get into some of the issues surrounding the world's air. So for our first project, we are going to be talking about weight. So what you're going to need is a straw or a pencil. Either one will work just fine. Balloons, you'll need at least 2, and some string. And also optional is tape. You can use either tape or string, either of those would be fine. I have both just in case. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our straw and our string, and we're going to place the string around the center of the straw, just like this. Tie it right here in the middle. You can do a double tie just to make sure that it's good and secure. And what we want essentially is to be able to hold on to the string and have the straw or pencil be a balance. So you want to have it as centered as you can get it, so that when you hold on to it, the string or your straw or pencil will be balanced like this. All right, I'm going to put that right back down. And next, with either, you could do another additional string, or you can use tape. But we're going to tape our 2 balloons to the ends of our straws or pencil. So this is just to show, again, that we can have a balance on our straw with our 2 uninflated balloons. So again, I'm just going to tape my straw to the end, or my balloon to the end of my straw. Again, you can use additional pieces of string if you don't have tape. Either of those work. Now I'm just taping my second balloon down onto my string. All right, so again, we're going to be able to hold our string here in the middle and have our 2 balloons balance. So you might have to adjust where your string is or where your balloons are taped on the end so that it's good and balanced. So I'm just going to move this a little bit closer to the end so that it's a little bit more balanced. All right. Take this guy down again. Make sure that my string is centered in the middle. All right, and there we go. We have our 2, well, it's a little spinny, but all right. My balloons do not want to cooperate, but there we go. We have it good and balanced. All right. So then we're going to take off one of our balloons and we're going to inflate it. All right. I'm going to inflate this balloon. Pretty good. And then we're just going to tie this off. So we're just going to inflate one balloon and tie it off. Balloon wants to cooperate with me. There we go. So for everybody watching, we would love to know where you guys are watching from. We are here in Central Maryland, but we'd love to know if anybody from out of state is watching. We'd love to know that we're reaching a wide audience. That's awesome. All right, so we have our 1 uninflated balloon, we have our inflated balloon, and we're gonna tie our inflated balloon down now. So just exactly the same thing I did before. I'm just gonna tape it down to the end of my straw or your pencil, whatever you're using for your balance. All right. Looks like we have people from all over watching. That is awesome. Welcome, you guys. We're really glad to have you here with us today. So, my uninflated balloon, and I have my inflated balloon. So, what are we thinking is going to happen when I do my balance? Are they going to be in balance like they were when we had the 2 uninflated balloons? Or do we think this one's going to be heavier, this one's going to be heavier? Kind of make those predictions that you think. And I'm going to let go. Let me see when it turns back around if you guys can see it. Trying to get it so that you guys can see it. There we go. All right. You can see that my inflated balloon, it's not super obvious, but it is pushing down just a little bit. All right. So that is because the air inside of my balloon has weight, and my uninflated balloon does not have that air. So when we go to balance, this balloon is heavier than this balloon. And that is what we're seeing here with it slanting down like that. It is kind of going back and forth just because I'm not holding it super steadily, but it, you know, if you have something to hold it a little bit steadier, you'd be able to see that a little bit more clearly. So, Again, let me turn it. Our inflated balloon is heavier because the air inside of it has weight. All right? Awesome. So, going to take off our balloons here. Set those over to the side. And again, you can do that with a straw, a pencil, really anything to get that balance on there. Alrighty. So the next thing that we are going to do, you're going to need a cup, any kind of cup that you have, water, nice little tub. You want to be able to see the inside of it so that you can see what's going on. So you want it to be a clear tub. And you also want paper towels or any kind of paper that you have. I just have a sheet of paper. It can be a napkin, can be a paper towel, anything. And what we're going to do, okay, yeah, you guys can see that, is just crumple up our piece of paper, paper towel, whatever you have. Crumple it up into a ball, and then we're going to put it in the top of our cup. And you really want to squeeze it in there so that when you flip your cup over, it doesn't come out, it doesn't move. It doesn't have to be super thick. Just want to be able to make sure that once you flip over, maybe shake it up a little bit, that it doesn't fall out. What we're going to do is we are going to put our cup in our water and let's see what happens. So we're just going to dunk right into our water. Right. So make sure that you guys can see what's going on here. So my cup is completely submerged in this water. So, what are some of your predictions about what might be going on in there? You just kind of think about that. Do you think there are any air bubbles coming up? Can't really see it, but you can be looking into your cup. Do you see any water bubbles, or sorry, air bubbles coming up? Do you think that the water is going up inside of your cup? Or what do you think is happening? Someone commented that it will be dry. Okay. Yep, the paper will be dry. Paper isn't going to be wet. Perfect. Yep. So if we pull our cup right back out, we go in and we feel our paper towel or paper whatever, it is still completely dry. So the reason that happens is there's air in our cup. You obviously can't see it. Air is invisible, but it's always there. And here, I'll put it right back in. When we have it upside down, there's air in there. And when we put it in our water, the air isn't going to let the water in because it's taking up space. And that is what having mass is. So air has mass, and when we put it in the water, the air pushes the water out of the way, and the air stays in the cup and is taking up the space inside of the cup. So no water is getting in there. Now if I were to tilt my cup up at all, like that, we're going to get an air bubble and the water is going to go right in there and it's going to get my paper wet again. So the air is inside of the cup and has nowhere to go. So it pushes the water out of the way so that none of that water gets up in there. So that's kind of a fun trick. If people don't know about that, you can say, I bet you I can put this piece of paper underwater without getting it wet. And that's what you would do. You would put it in your cup and do it just like that. That can be kind of a fun trick if people don't know about that property of air. All right. I'm going to put that one to the side. All right, and the next one that we are going to do is, I think, really fun. So we know that air contains oxygen, but we don't know exactly how much oxygen. And so this is a fun experiment that looks at oxygen within the air. So what you're going to need, again, is a cup and some steel wool. I had just an old piece of steel wool that isn't really getting used anymore because it's old. And so I actually set this one up earlier because it takes a little bit of time for it to, there we go, for it to really start. So what you're going to do is, again, put the steel wool at the bottom of your cup. Want to make sure that it is really secure in there so that it doesn't fall when you tip the cup over. So just like this one, you're going to use your flat tub. Mine actually has a little bit of a ribbed bottom, as you can see. That's what you're going to either need, that or you'll use a couple of pebbles or something, because you want the water to be able to actually go under the cup. So you don't want to form the seal like we had with this one, because you do want that water to be able to get into your cup. So what I did was, last night actually I set this up. So I just had the upside down cup with the steel wool up at the top in my, it's probably just like a couple inches of water in here. And so, let's see if you guys can see. Yep, so I just have a couple of inches of water in there. Again, it's got that ribbed bottom so that the water can get under the cup. If you don't have this, you could use pebbles or something like that to just have the cup a little bit elevated in the water. You can use more water than this. This was just the pan that I had. And so, yep, you can see the steel wool up there. And so what is happening here is the air and the water inside of the cup are having a chemical reaction together and actually creating rust on the steel wool that's up here. Okay. And so when the air and water combine to make the rust, it actually takes some of the air out of the cup, and so then the water filters in and rises up a little bit. So this cup actually already has lines on it, so I used that as kind of my point. It is kind of hard to see, even for me in the light, but it's really kind of hard to see on the camera. But it started out, there's a line right down here that I had started it out on. And then now it has risen up just a little tiny bit, but it has risen up a little bit. And let me actually take the wool out so that you can see it. And you can see that a couple little pieces of rust have started to form on here. All right. So I see a couple people are saying that they don't have steel wool. If you don't have steel wool, that is a good question. I'm not really sure what else you could use because it does have to be something that can rust. So any sort of material that you have that could form rust on it, I don't really know what else besides steel could have that. Let me see if I can look something else up right now and see. Let's see. You do want something that could rust. So someone's saying copper. Maybe if you had pennies or something, you could put the, maybe like tape the pennies, something like that. You could do that. Let's see. Yeah, this one's also saying bronze, copper, things like that. Yeah. So anything that can rust, you can use for this experiment. There also are lots of YouTube videos of examples of this. So if you don't have the steel wool at home, you could look at some YouTube videos for examples of that, and that would work just as well. Okay. And the steel wool is just for that one experiment, so you can do all of the others without that. So see, that was a question in there as well. Okay. Awesome. And then for our last experiment, again, we are going to use our tub just in case we have any spills. And then I also have another cup. Actually, we're going to use two different cups so that we can kind of see a little bit of a difference. And then a couple of different things that I have. So you can either use pieces of cardboard. The cardboard has to cover the entire mouth of your cup. Or if you have like Tupperware lids or index cards or playing cards, again, as long as it is kind of a hard, flat surface that covers the entire mouth of the cup, that will work fine. Again, it doesn't have to be a see-through cup. It can be any sort of cup that you have. So what I'm going to do is fill up my cup a little bit more than halfway, but not all the way. We do want to have a little bit here. We're going to put our cardboard or our lid or whatever else that we have on top. Again, we want to make sure that the entire mouth is covered. You don't want any holes or anything like that. We're going to flip our cup over. Again, it's okay if a little bit of water comes out. Not all of it is going to come out. And then we're just going to very, very carefully take our hand off the bottom. And it's going to stay like this. So, yep, I was just about to say, the cardboard is going to get a little bit wet. So it's not going to stay for a very long amount of time. But if you have something plastic, so again, I just have like a plastic lid that has a flat bottom, you can do it with that, and that will stay a lot longer. The cardboard gets wet, and so that weakens the seal that kind of forms on the lid. Okay, let me do it with the plastic so that it will stay a little bit longer. Yeah. I'll flip it over. I'm going to take my hand out from under. Again, this might take a couple of tries. It took me a couple of tries to get it the first time. That's okay. You know, practice makes perfect. So what is happening here is there is air pressure exerting on the bottom up onto the bottom of this plastic lid, there's also gravity pushing down on the water and on the lid. So the air pressure pushing up onto this lid is greater than gravity pushing down on the lid. Also, water has a unique ability to be self-cohesive, and so the water around the edge of the glass creates sort of a seal with the lid. So you can kind of feel it when you first remove your hand. You can feel that seal starting to form. So you can do this with different size cups, with different lids, all those sorts of things. So I have a little bit of a bigger cup. I don't think this lid doesn't quite fit on it, so I'm just going to use the cardboard again. A little bit of a bigger piece of cardboard that's also dry. All right, and we are going to flip. Again, it's okay if a little bit of water comes out. All right, and there we go. So no matter the size of your cup or of your lid, it's going to work no matter what. Again, you can see cardboard's getting a little wet, and that weakens it, and that's why that first one fell through. So yeah, I do see someone asked, we are not doing all of the requirements today. This is part 1 of 3. And so next time we will talk a little bit more about the take action portion, some of the issues that we associate with air quality, those sorts of things, and try to come up with ways that we can address those problems even while we are stuck at home, because there are lots of ways. We will talk about that next time. We'll just be doing these once a week, so it will be next Thursday, again at 10 a.m. We will continue on with this. But one last thing that I wanted to go over today is something that you guys can do on your own between now and next time, next week, next Thursday, is to create an air log. So if you have access to the VTK, you can download the air log from that. If not, you can absolutely just make your own observations. So what I want you to do is to go outside at least 4. We want to have at least 4 logs in our air log, but you want to go outside and just observe what is going on in the air. So that can be either some things that you smell, some things that you see in the air, things that you hear. So noise pollution is also something that you can consider. Anything, is it windy, is it rainy, those sorts of things. And we want to be documenting that at least 4 or so times. So again, it can just be from your backyard. That would be a great place to do it. Talking about the things you see in the air, the things you smell in the air, the things you hear in the air. Just kind of taking note, maybe appreciating some of the things that you sometimes forget, like the birds chirping or, a dog barking, those sorts of things. So again, you can find that on the VTK if you have access to that. It's within the additional program resources under the Cadette Breathe Journey. I think it's in 6 sessions on the VTK, and I believe the first one has the air log in it. If you don't have access to that, you absolutely can just write it down on a piece of paper or in a journal that you have, just marking it down as your air log. And we want to have 4 different ones so that we are kind of appreciating what's around us and possibly becoming aware of some of the problems that we are noticing in our air. So again, our next session will be next Thursday at 10 a.m., same time, same place. It will be, we will have it on our Facebook event. We will start one of those as well, and it'll get linked in there for, I see someone asked if it will be for linked for out of state. Yes, we will create a Facebook event for part 2, and it will get linked in there. Someone asked again, where is it in the VTK? So it's under the Cadette Breathe Journey sessions. I believe there are 6 sessions. Under session 1, there are like additional resources, and it's the air log in there. So again, if you have any other questions, I will be monitoring the Facebook comments as well once this is finished. You can send emails, send Facebook messages, any sorts of those things, and I will be monitoring those. And again, next time we will be talking a little bit more about some of the problems or issues that we find in our air and what we can do to help out with those even from our own homes, since we're all inside. Okay, so I will see you guys next Thursday, and thank you so much for joining me. Have a good one.